What's going on, guys? Welcome back. So this here is the K1500 project truck that we never finished, and we're pulling the 6-liter out to give it a new life. Well, the plan is, once we get the engine out, we're going to tear it down, pull the pistons and rods out, and we're actually going to gap the rings is the plan. When we built this engine originally, we had no intentions of it ever being boosted, so the ring gap was never checked. We put fresh rings in it, but never checked the gap, so that's the plan. We'll get it in the shop, get it torn down, and see what we're working with. Well, to get started pulling the engine, we decided we'd just go ahead and drop the transmission out while we had it on the lift and not try and pull it all at once. It'd be a little easier just to do this. So we got dry shafts out of the way, the torsion bar crossmember out of the way, and the transmission crossmember out of the way. With both these crossmembers out of the way, we can actually get the exhaust out in one piece without having to cut it. So we got the exhaust loose and pulled the exhaust out, got it out of the way, and now it's just pulling the bell housing bolts and the transmission should come right out. We're hoping to pull it with the transfer case, be a little less work. Gonna be kind of awkward because it's pretty heavy, but we'll throw a strap on it and see what all happens. Pull it back just a little bit.
Ease down on it.
Decently balanced, huh?
No, it's heavy. There's a 10 on that, or on top of the toolbox in that little 90 gun. The question is now how we're gonna get it off of here onto the ground.
Big gun.
Okay. More than around here too somewhere.
I mean, you can stay on it.
Well, I know I'm saying it ain't gonna stay. It's back heavy.
Oh, you can hold it.
Yeah, I'm holding it.
How is it going to continue to fall over?
Well, it's running out the back of the transfer case on me. Go up with the truck, yeah.
Having this transmission jack is nice. It sure beats pulling a transmission on the ground. The one issue we run into is the joker's just so high in the air, even with the jack all the way down. I mean, I'm 6 foot right there and the transmission at the top of my head. This transmission with a torque converter and a transfer case, that puppy's heavy. So, this is the only option we can think of to get it off the jack at least. We figure we could jump up on the table, Pick it up, set it on the table. That's better than dropping it. Well, we got it off the jack, but made one heck of a mess while doing it. We didn't drain any of the oil out of the transmission, and you can see it is just pouring out of the dipstick, and it was a scramble to try and find the dipstick to plug the hole. Well, before we decided to let the truck down, figured it'd be a good time to go ahead and mop up all this oil we just spilled and blow the shop out. Let's get a clean start. Well, before letting the truck all the way down on the ground, we decided to go ahead and take the nuts off the motor mount bolts. That way when it's time to pull the engine, all we gotta do is put some tension on it, pull the bolts out, and it'll be ready to come right out. Well, as you can see, we got the intake off, we got the headers off, and right now I'm going to bolt up the engine lift plate. And it should be everything we need to take loose to yank this engine out. Alright guys, as you can see,
We got the rods out, got it tore down. The crankshaft looks good. So we're gonna pull these rings off the pistons. We'll check the ring gap, and they're more likely gonna be pretty tight. We didn't check them when we built this engine the first time. We had no plans of it being a boosted application. So we're gonna check the rings, see where they're at. We're gonna gap them probably 30, 28, and we're gonna slap this puppy back together. So we're gonna use the 243s that came off this engine. We got 317s in the car right now. We're gonna pull the valve springs out of the heads on the car, put them in those heads, and we should be going back together. Put our camshaft, lifters, everything from our engine into this one, and we'll be ready to button it back up. Well, I got it flipped over now, and looking down in the bores, it ain't looking too bad. It's been sitting for a long time. So this cylinder here definitely, this one looks the worst, but it's not too bad. We'll run a dingleberry through it, clean it right up. Say there's one more on this side that looks about the same. Hey, these look pretty, these look fine, and just a little rust at the top of this one. It should clean up just fine. But other than that, be ready to rock and roll.